This is sacred knowledge, whispered through the ages. The hidden law of creation lives within your own consciousness. When thought and feeling unite, the universe responds. Awaken the power within and witness reality bend to your inner harmony. Sacred Knowledge. Introduction. Beyond the veil of ordinary sight, in the silent rhythm of the cosmos, a truth hums eternally. Creation begins within you. Each thought you hold, each feeling you breathe into life, ripples through the unseen realms, weaving the very fabric of your reality. This is the sacred knowledge, the divine code of existence, whispered through generations and hidden in plain sight within your own soul. The universe itself is not chaos but harmony, governed by laws as ancient as starlight, exact yet fluid, responding to every vibration you emit. When your inner being sings the tone of your deepest desire, unseen forces stir, aligning heaven and earth to reflect your state of consciousness. You are not a spectator in this great cosmic play. You are its living script. Imagine your mind as fertile soil, your emotions the waters of life, and your actions the sunlight that calls your vision forth. Whatever seed you choose to plant, fear or faith, lack or abundance, shall blossom in kind, for the universe multiplies what you nurture within. To ask is not enough. You must become the answer you seek. The awakened soul knows you are not apart from creation, but the very pulse of it. The same intelligence that spins the galaxies beats within your heart. When you awaken to this union, the boundary between dreamer and dream dissolves, leaving only the living truth that you and the divine create as one. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Alignment Within. Chapter 1. The First Vibration of Yes. In the quiet mountains lived a weaver named Mabel, whose fingers danced across her loom, creating tapestries of extraordinary beauty. Though her work brought joy to others, her heart yearned for something more, a small shop in the village where she could share her art with the world. Day after day she would plead with the universe, her words echoing against empty walls. Please, grant me this wish. Months passed without change until an old woman visited her home. Watching Mabel work, the elder shared wisdom passed down through generations. The universe responds not to words, but to the song of your heart. When you weave, you speak its language perfectly, pure creation without doubt. This revelation transformed Mabel's approach. Instead of asking, she began to feel. Each morning she would sit at her loom, imagining her shop with such clarity that she could smell the fresh paint on the walls and hear the bell above the door. Her hands moved with newfound purpose, each thread woven with absolute certainty that her dream was already real. Within weeks, unexpected paths opened. A merchant, enchanted by her work, offered her the very space she had envisioned. The universe had answered not her pleas, but her unwavering trust. The language of manifestation speaks through feeling, not words. When thought and emotion align without contradiction, you create a magnetic force that draws your desires into physical form. Like a seed that knows nothing of doubt as it grows toward the sun, your certainty becomes the soil from which your dreams emerge. A wandering monk once carried only an empty bowl, yet never went hungry. When asked about his secret, he smiled and said, "I do not hope for food. I know it comes. The universe provides not because I ask, but because I trust without question." His bowl was never filled through begging, but through the pure knowing that sustained him. The monk's story reveals the power of absolute sincerity. When you release the need to control how your desires manifest, when you trust with the innocence of a child, the universe conspires to support you. Fear creates static in this divine communication. Faith clears the channel through which abundance flows. The ancient practice of divine alignment. Sit in stillness, breathe deeply, and feel your small desire as already fulfilled until your whole being says a confident, joyful yes. For in that unwavering faith, the universe begins its echo of creation. Chapter 2. The Whisper of Surrender. Deep within an ancient city, a merchant named Eugene filled scrolls with detailed plans and calculations. Each morning he would meticulously outline every step needed to expand his spice trade, convinced that perfect planning would guarantee his success. His shelves groaned under the weight of his strategies, yet his dreams remained frustratingly distant. Through endless nights of planning, Eugene failed to notice how the universe whispered its guidance. His grip on control grew ever tighter, while abundance seemed to slip further from his grasp. You see, the universe operates not through force, but through allowance. Not through rigid plans, but through inspired action. The truth lies in this sacred principle. What you chase often eludes you, while what you allow flows naturally into your experience. When Eugene finally exhausted himself with planning, something remarkable occurred. In a moment of surrender, he sat in his courtyard, watching leaves dance in the wind. For the first time in years, he released his iron grip on the future. That very afternoon, a traveler arrived with tales of a new trade route, one that would transform Eugene's modest business into the thriving enterprise he had long envisioned. The very success that had eluded his careful calculations arrived effortlessly when he loosened his hold. Like the ancient tale of the mountain stream, there once flowed a river that encountered a wall of stone. Instead of fighting against the immovable barrier, the water simply found another path, flowing gracefully around obstacles, creating new channels, and eventually reaching the vast ocean. The river never pushed or struggled. It simply allowed its nature to guide its course. This wisdom speaks directly to you now. When you release the need to orchestrate every detail, you align with the natural flow of abundance. Your role is not to force the universe's hand, but to dance with its rhythm. Trust that the intelligence that keeps planets in orbit can surely guide your path to fulfillment. The art of allowing is not passive resignation. It is active surrender to a higher wisdom. When you release your grip on the how, you open yourself to possibilities far greater than your mind could have planned. Practice. When uncertainty arises, breathe deeply and affirm, "I don't know how, but I trust it's unfolding," allowing peace to replace control as the universe moves gracefully on your behalf. Chapter 3. The Mirror of Gratitude. In a small village among rolling hills, Clara tended her modest garden each morning. While others saw only withered plants and dry soil during a long drought, she began each day whispering thanks to the flowers, yet to bloom, the fruits yet to ripen, and the rain yet to fall. The villagers thought her mad, speaking to empty soil and giving thanks for invisible abundance. But Clara understood a truth as old as the earth itself. Gratitude is not a response to receiving. It is the sacred signal that summons gifts from the universal mind. Day after day she watered her garden with appreciation until something remarkable occurred. While other gardens withered, hers flourished. Green shoots emerged from the parched earth, and flowers bloomed in impossible splendor. The universe operates through an ancient principle. What you appreciate appreciates. This is not mere wordplay, but a fundamental law of consciousness. When you train your awareness to resonate with thankfulness, you tune yourself to the frequency of abundance. Your gratitude becomes a magnetic force, drawing forth more reasons to be grateful. Many wait to feel thankful until after their desires manifest. Yet this reverses the natural order of creation. Gratitude is not the end of the manifestation process. It is the beginning. When you thank the universe in advance, you declare your trust in its infinite wisdom. This declaration creates a vibrational signature that the universe must match. Think of gratitude as spiritual electricity. Just as a light bulb glows before your eyes adjust to see in a dark room, your thankfulness illuminates possibilities before they become visible to others. This is why those who master gratitude seem to live charmed lives. They have learned to give thanks for the invisible until it becomes visible. A wandering merchant named Talib discovered this truth through an unexpected trial. Having lost his entire fortune in a sandstorm, he found himself with nothing but an empty leather pouch. Instead of lamenting his fate, he began filling the pouch each morning with pebbles, giving thanks for each one as if it were a gold coin. He spoke to them, blessed them, and treated them with the same care he once showed his treasure. For months he maintained this practice, even as others mocked his seeming delusion. Then one day, a wealthy trader observed Talib's morning ritual. Moved by such unwavering faith, the trader offered him a partnership. Within a year, Talib's pouch once again held gold. Yet he understood that his true wealth had begun the moment he first gave thanks for empty hands. This tale mirrors your own potential. Your current circumstances may appear empty of what you desire, yet they are pregnant with possibility. The secret lies not in waiting for abundance to appear before offering thanks, but in recognizing that gratitude itself is the seed of abundance, the ancient practice of future. Thanks. Each night, in quiet candlelight, give thanks for 3 unseen blessings as if they already exist, letting heartfelt gratitude shine as the beacon that draws them into form. Chapter 4. The Invisible Bridge of Faith. In the ancient marketplace of Damascus, a merchant named Harold stood each morning before his empty stall. While others rushed to stock their shelves with wares, he remained still, eyes closed, breathing in the morning air. His neighbors whispered that he had lost his mind, for his actions defied all common wisdom of trade. Yet Harold had discovered something extraordinary. Each day he simply knew, with the certainty of sunrise, that what he needed would appear. Not through blind optimism or desperate hoping, but through an unshakable inner knowing that had transformed his entire being. This knowing arose not from the evidence of his senses, but from a deeper place, the realm where all possibilities already exist. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you are. When you shift from hoping to knowing, you alter the very fabric of reality. Many seek signs before believing, but this inverts the natural order of creation. The universe does not convince. It confirms. It mirrors back to you the certainty or doubt that you hold within. Your inner state becomes the template for your outer experience. Those who wait for proof before believing remain forever in the waiting room of life. But those who dare to know, even before physical eyes can see, become agents of creation itself. This is not positive thinking, but rather positive being. Consider the tale of the desert gardener. In a land where nothing grew, he planted seeds in the parched earth each morning, humming joyfully as he worked. Others mocked his seeming foolishness, pointing to decades of failed crops in that cursed soil. The land remembers, they warned. But the gardener simply smiled and continued his work, carrying water from a distant well, speaking to his yet unseen garden, as if it already bloomed in abundance. His certainty was not a mask covering doubt. It was his very nature. Months passed, and tender shoots emerged from soil long thought dead. The garden flourished, not because the gardener hoped, but because his knowing had preceded the physical manifestation. His certainty had shifted the very chemistry of the soil. This tale mirrors an eternal truth. Evidence follows vibration. The universe does not respond to what you want, but to what you have become. When faith transforms into knowing, miracles cease to be miraculous. They become the natural order of your world. The ancient practice of walking certainty. Walk in nature at sunrise or sunset, each step affirming, even now, unseen miracles arrange around me, until this quiet knowing feels as effortless and certain as breath itself. Chapter 5. The Lightness of Allowing. A young woman named Millie lived in a village between mountains where she wove tapestries of extraordinary beauty. Yet her creations emerged not from peaceful dedication, but through forceful determination. She would pull each thread with such intensity that her fingers bled, demanding perfection with every pass of the shuttle. Though her works drew praise, the cost to her spirit grew heavier with each piece. Night after night, she toiled until her shoulders ached and her vision blurred. "I must finish," she would whisper, pushing through exhaustion. But one evening her body simply refused to continue. As she lay on her workshop floor, tears of frustration streaming down her face, an ancient wisdom stirred within her heart. In that moment of complete surrender, something shifted. The next morning, rather than attacking her loom with her usual fierce intensity, she sat quietly beside it. For the first time, she noticed how the morning light played upon the threads, how they seemed to whisper their own desires. As she began to weave with gentle hands, the patterns flowed with an ease she had never known. This truth echoes through the ages. What you chase often eludes you, while what you allow flows naturally into your experience. The universe responds not to force, but to receptivity. When you release the grip of control, you open yourself to possibilities beyond your limited vision. Think of water. It does not fight its way through stone, but rather flows around obstacles with gentle persistence. In time, even the hardest rock yields to its soft touch. This is the way of universal energy. It moves not through resistance, but through acceptance, not through demand, but through invitation. In the mountains of Tibet, it is said, lived a wise woman who taught her students using only a single feather. She would hold it in her closed fist and ask them to make it float. They would blow at it, wave their hands around it, try to create air currents to lift it. But the feather remained trapped until she opened her hand. Only then would it rise gracefully on the breeze. The feather teaches us that our desires manifest not through grasping, but through releasing. Just as a flower cannot be forced to bloom, your dreams unfold according to their own divine timing. Your role is not to force their arrival, but to create the space in which they can land. This wisdom applies to every aspect of your journey, whether you seek love, abundance, or purpose. The art of allowing is not passive resignation, but active receptivity. It is the recognition that you are part of a greater flow, and your power lies in aligning with it rather than fighting against it. Ancient practice. Sit in stillness, breathe deeply, and let the words, "I allow the best to find me," flow through you like a gentle song, opening your heart to the universe's quiet gifts. Chapter 6. The Pulse of Worthiness. In a humble dwelling at the edge of a bustling marketplace, there lived a merchant named Elmer, who spent his days admiring the good fortune of others. Each morning, he watched as neighboring vendors received endless streams of customers, their coffers filling with gold, while his own shop remained eerily quiet. Though his wares matched theirs in quality, prosperity seemed to flow around him like a river parting around a stone. What you must understand about the flow of abundance is that it moves according to invisible laws. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, can only deliver to the degree that you believe yourself worthy of receiving. When you stand before the mirror of creation with shoulders bent by unworthiness, you become invisible to the very blessings seeking to find you. Your relationship with yourself creates a vibration that either welcomes or repels the abundance already moving toward you. Each thought of "not enough" builds a wall, while each moment of self-acceptance opens a gateway through which miracles can enter. Let this truth settle into your bones. You are not meant to earn worthiness. You were born worthy. The universe does not withhold, it responds. When you declare your inherent value, you align with the natural state of abundance that has always been your birthright. In the ancient city of Alamar there lived a master jeweler who inherited a precious stone covered in years of dust and grime. Day after day he passed by this clouded gem, seeing only its dull exterior. Yet one morning, moved by an inner calling, he began to clean it with reverent care. As layers of dust fell away, an extraordinary radiance emerged. Not a new light, but one that had been present all along, waiting to be acknowledged. This jewel mirrors your own nature. The brilliance of your being has never dimmed. It has only been concealed beneath layers of doubt and self-judgment. As you remove these veils through self-acceptance, your inner light naturally attracts its matching resonance in the outer world. The jewel did not become precious through cleaning. It simply revealed its inherent worth. Similarly, you need not become worthy. You need only recognize the worth already within you. This recognition creates an energetic signature that the universe must match. The ancients understood that self-worth is not pride. It is alignment with truth. When you stand in the simple recognition of your value, you activate a magnetic force that draws to you all that resonates with your authentic nature. Hold the words, "I am enough and deserving now," over your heart. Breathe until warmth replaces doubt, and feel this truth awaken within you, not as new belief, but as timeless remembrance. Chapter 7. The Radiance of Joy. In the heart of a modest village lived a woman named Hattie, whose circumstances offered little cause for celebration. Her small home needed repairs, her garden yielded sparse harvests, and her purse held few coins. Yet each morning she would step outside, raise her arms to the rising sun, and laugh with pure delight. The villagers whispered among themselves, questioning her sanity. What does she have to be so happy about? They wondered. But Hattie knew something they did not. She had discovered the sacred alchemy of joy. Within the depths of your being lies a power greater than any circumstance, the power to choose your emotional state. When you grasp this truth, you hold the master key to creation itself. Joy is not the reward for manifesting your desires. It is the very force that brings them into being. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to the energy you emanate. When you choose joy before evidence of success appears, you activate a magnetic force that draws corresponding experiences into your reality. This is the hidden mechanism of manifestation. Your emotional state serves as a command to the cosmic forces. Think of it this way. Your feelings are the language the universe understands most clearly. When you vibrate with genuine joy, you speak in the native tongue of creation. This is why forced positivity falls flat. The universe responds to authenticity, not pretense. In a distant kingdom, there once lived a young child who spent hours in her garden, hosting tea parties for invisible guests. She set out empty cups and served imaginary delicacies with such conviction that the very air seemed to shimmer with delight. Her parents smiled indulgently at what they saw as mere play. Yet something remarkable began to unfold. Real guests started appearing at their door, bearing gifts and treats. Their once quiet home filled with laughter and abundance. The child's pure, playful belief had unknowingly issued a command to the universe, and it responded in kind. This reveals a fundamental truth. Playfulness is not frivolous. It is a sacred language. When you approach life with light-hearted joy, you align with the natural state of the universe itself. Creation was not born of strain and struggle. It emerged from divine play. You need not wait for circumstances to improve before allowing yourself to feel joy. Begin now, exactly where you are. Let your heart dance before your external reality catches up. This is not denial of current conditions. It is transcendence of them. The ancient practice of sacred play. Each day, do one purely joyful, purposeless thing. Dance, laugh, play, and feel how the universe mirrors your likeness, returning delight to you in ever-expanding waves of creation. Chapter 8. The Stillness Before the Leap. In the silence of dawn, a merchant named Gerald paced beneath the wooden beams of his empty storehouse. His dreams of prosperity felt trapped between the whispers of possibility and the shadows of doubt. Each day, opportunities beckoned, yet fear held him frozen at the threshold of action. His heart yearned to expand his trade routes across distant lands, but uncertainty kept his feet planted firmly in familiar soil. The universal law speaks clearly on this matter. When you stand at the crossroads of desire and fear, stillness becomes your greatest ally. Like water that must settle before reflecting the stars, your power gathers only in the quiet spaces between thoughts. Through patience, scattered energies unite into a focused beam of intention. Your true strength emerges not from constant motion, but from moments of sacred pause. In these intervals of conscious stillness, the universe aligns circumstances in ways your rushing could never achieve. Every master manifester knows this truth. Power collects in the vessel of patience. Consider the archer who draws back his bow. In that suspended moment before release, all potential gathers. The further he pulls, the more power he summons. Yet notice, the arrow's flight is not determined by force alone, but by the quality of stillness in that crucial instant before release. The archer who trembles misses the mark. The one who finds calm with intention strikes true. This ancient wisdom reveals itself in all of nature's rhythms. The seed does not sprout the moment it touches soil. It must first rest in darkness, gathering strength. The butterfly does not emerge until its transformation in the chrysalis is complete. These are not periods of inaction, but powerful moments of becoming. Your manifestations follow this same divine pattern. What appears as delay is often the universe's perfect timing, allowing all elements to align in your favor. In your stillness, unseen forces mobilize. In your patience, power accumulates. When you learn to rest in this sacred pause, you'll discover that what seemed like waiting was actually a gathering of force. Every moment of conscious patience adds momentum to your eventual movement forward. Like the archer's drawn bow, your positioned potential grows stronger in the silence. This truth becomes your gateway to masterful manifestation. The pause is not a void to be feared, but a vessel to be filled. In these spaces of apparent nothing, everything prepares to shift on your behalf. Practice. The gathering of power. Before acting, sit quietly and breathe until your energy shifts from tension to calm certainty. Then move forward, knowing that true patience is power gathered and timing perfected by the universe itself. Chapter 9. The Shadow as Teacher. In a small village among ancient hills lived a woman who spent her days concealing from the shadows of her own doubts. Each morning, Dorothy would draw thick curtains across her windows, believing that by blocking out darkness, she might somehow find more light. Yet the universe whispers wisdom through every experience, even those we resist most deeply. Through your own journey, you may recognize this pattern. The very things you push away hold the seeds of your transformation. Dorothy's story mirrors a truth that echoes through the ages. What appears as an obstacle actually serves as a compass, pointing toward greater alignment. When Dorothy finally allowed herself to sit with her doubts instead of hiding from them, she discovered something remarkable. Each fear highlighted precisely what she truly desired. Her worry about financial stability revealed her deeper yearning for abundance. Her hesitation to speak in gatherings unveiled her soul's desire to share wisdom. Every doubt acted as a teacher, showing her the path forward through contrast. The universal law operates with perfect precision in this regard. Just as hot defines cold and darkness gives meaning to light, your challenges outline the exact shape of your emerging power. What you resist persists not to torment you, but to teach you. Each contrast serves as a divine messenger, carrying precise instructions for your growth. In the mountains far to the east, a wise teacher once shared this truth through the tale of the Temple of 1,000 Candles. A single candle named Ming questioned its worth among so many others. As evening approached and shadows deepened, Ming noticed how the darkness around it made its own flame appear brighter. In that moment of contrast, Ming understood. Darkness wasn't its enemy, but its teacher, revealing the true nature of its radiance. This ancient wisdom speaks directly to your current experience. Every obstacle you face isn't a barrier, but a brilliant indicator, pointing toward your next evolution. When circumstances seem to oppose your desires, they actually highlight the precise frequency you're called to embody. The universe operates through this law of polarity with unwavering consistency. What appears as resistance becomes revelation when viewed through enlightened eyes. Your challenges aren't punishment. They're precise instructions for alignment. This sacred knowledge transforms how you meet life's contrasts. Instead of hiding from what disturbs you, you can welcome it as a messenger bearing gifts of clarity. Each frustration outlines exactly what you prefer. Every obstacle illuminates the path to your power. The eternal practice. When irritation appears, breathe and affirm, "Thank you for clarifying what I now choose instead," turning each moment of resistance into a doorway to alignment and expansion. Chapter 10. The Music of Intention. In a quiet corner of a bustling city, Floyd sat each morning at his weathered oak desk, writing letters to the universe. Day after day he penned elaborate requests, carefully choosing each word, believing that eloquence would unlock his desires. Yet his wishes remained suspended in the ethereal realm, like notes waiting to be played. One dawn, as sunlight painted his study in gold, Floyd noticed a small bird perched outside his window. Without sound or ceremony, it simply focused its gaze on a distant branch, and in one fluid motion, soared precisely to its target. In that moment, the universe unveiled its first secret. Intention resonates more powerfully than any word ever spoken. When you align your thoughts with unwavering focus, you create a vibration that ripples through the fabric of existence. Like a laser beam cutting through fog, a concentrated mind sends clear signals to the universe. Your thoughts are not mere whispers in the void. They are waves of energy that shape the quantum field of possibility. The power lies not in the intricacy of your requests, but in the clarity of your vision. When your mind holds steady on a single frequency, free from the static of doubt or scattered attention, you become a transmitter of pure creative force. This is the art of coherent manifestation, when thought, feeling, and expectation unite in perfect harmony. Consider the difference between a crowd of voices shouting at once and a single, pure note held in perfect pitch. The universe responds not to volume but to clarity, not to complexity but to coherence. Your focused intention becomes the tuning fork that sets reality into resonant vibration. In the heart of an ancient music hall there lived a master pianist named Chen. Before touching a single key, he would sit in complete stillness, eyes closed, fingers hovering above the ivory. Within his mind, every note already sang with crystal clarity. Those who watched him practice observed that when his hands finally met the keys, the music that flowed seemed not to come from the instrument, but from the very air itself, as if the universe had been holding its breath, waiting for his vision to call forth the melody. This tale mirrors your own creative power. Just as Chen's clear mental impression shaped the music before a single note was played, your focused intention molds reality before physical manifestation appears. The physical world simply follows the template you hold in consciousness. Ancient practice of visionary resonance. Sit in stillness. See your desire vividly fulfilled. Feel its joy humming through every cell, and rest in that frequency until the universe begins harmonizing your world to match its song. Part 2. The Dance with the Universe. Chapter 11. The Law of Reflection. In a sunlit valley there lived a weaver named Lucille who created magnificent tapestries. Yet in her personal life she found herself entangled in the same situations time and again. Friends who betrayed her trust, opportunities that slipped away at the last moment, and dreams that seemed forever just beyond reach. "Why does this keep happening to me?" she would lament to the mountains, seeing herself as fortune's victim. Until one morning, as she worked at her loom, she noticed how each thread she chose determined the pattern that emerged. The universe whispered its wisdom. Your life weaves patterns from the threads of your deepest beliefs. You possess the power to reshape your reality, for the universe operates as a grand mirror, reflecting back not the events you experience, but the beliefs you hold within. When situations repeat themselves, they arrive not as punishment, but as teachers bearing messages about your inner world. Each pattern carries an invitation to understand yourself more deeply. Just as a river cannot flow differently until its course is altered, your experiences cannot change until your beliefs transform. The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to what you believe is possible. Your consciousness is the sculptor of circumstances, the artist painting your reality with the colors of your convictions. Consider now the tale of Maya, the painter who blamed her canvas for the darkness of her art. Day after day, she created scenes of struggle and shadow, lamenting that the world gave her only somber subjects to paint. One dawn, as sunlight streamed through her studio window, she caught her reflection in a mirror beside her easel. In that moment of clarity, she saw that every stroke, every shade, every scene emerged from choices she made, conscious or unconscious. "I am not painting what I see," she realized. "I am seeing what I have already painted in my mind." This truth illuminates your path. The world you experience is not happening to you. It flows from you. Each circumstance, each relationship, each outcome emerges from the template of your beliefs. When you own this power, you step into the role of conscious creator rather than passive observer. The patterns in your life speak a sacred language. They whisper of beliefs seeking acknowledgement, of thoughts asking to be transformed. When you meet these patterns with curiosity instead of resistance, you discover they carry keys to your liberation. The ancient practice of pattern recognition. Sit quietly, bring to mind a recurring pattern, and ask with gentle curiosity, "What within me is asking to be seen?" Then listen in stillness, letting awareness itself dissolve the pattern and reveal the freedom already waiting beneath it. Chapter 12. The Currency of Love. Long ago, in a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Otis counted his coins obsessively each night. His wealth grew steadily through careful transactions and meticulous ledgers, yet something felt missing in his pursuit of prosperity. Each morning, he would rise before dawn, touching each golden piece as though they alone held the key to abundance. The universe works through channels far more subtle than the exchange of metal and paper. You see, Otis understood the mechanics of commerce, but had yet to grasp the alchemy of true abundance. His awakening began on a day when his youngest daughter fell ill. No amount of gold could cure her fever, until an old medicine woman offered her services without asking payment. "I give freely," she said, "because that is how healing flows." Her gentle hands and loving attention brought health back to the child. When Otis insisted on payment, she simply smiled and said, "Pass it forward when the moment calls." This encounter shifted something fundamental in his understanding. As he began incorporating kindness into his daily transactions, remarkable changes unfolded. Customers lingered longer, shared their stories, and returned more frequently. His ledgers showed a curious pattern. The more he led with genuine care, the more his prosperity multiplied. The universe speaks in the language of energy. When you approach life through the lens of love, you tap into the original currency of creation. Money represents frozen energy, but love is energy in its most fluid, potent form. Every gesture of genuine affection sends ripples through the fabric of reality, opening channels through which abundance naturally flows. Consider how water behaves. In its frozen state, like coins in a chest, it remains static and limited. But in its flowing state, it nourishes everything it touches, creating growth and possibility wherever it moves. So too does the energy of love transform everything it encounters. In a distant mountain village, two travelers learned this truth on a bitter winter night. The first arrived with a heavy purse but a guarded heart, finding no inn that would shelter him despite his gold. The second carried only a warm smile and an open spirit. When their paths crossed in the town square, the second traveler shared his last piece of bread without hesitation. Together they sought shelter, sharing stories and laughter that warmed their spirits more than any fire could. By morning, the villagers, touched by their harmony, offered both travelers not just shelter, but opportunities that would change their fortunes forever. The first traveler discovered that his coins multiplied more quickly when shared with an open heart, while the second found that his generosity had planted seeds of abundance throughout the village. This tale mirrors a profound truth in your own journey. When you approach life with love as your primary currency, material abundance follows naturally. The universe responds not to the size of your bank account, but to the expansiveness of your heart. Practice. When someone challenges you, close your eyes and send them silent love. Freeing yourself from resentment and feeling abundance, begin to flow through the open space of your own heart. Chapter 13. The Sacred Word, Already. In a small, sunlit studio, Vera stood before her vision board, pinning images of her dreams while whispering, "Someday." Each image, a thriving garden, a cozy writing nook, a peaceful meditation space, bore the weight of future hopes. Day after day, she nurtured these visions with longing, until an ancient truth stirred within her soul. The universe responds not to time, but to vibration. As you speak of tomorrow, you push creation into an endless horizon that never arrives. The power lies not in wishing, but in claiming. Every someday creates distance between you and your desires, while now dissolves the illusion of separation. Vera's transformation began when she noticed her language patterns. Each when and someday reinforced the gap between having and wanting. One morning, she stepped before her vision board and spoke differently. My garden flourishes. My words flow freely in my sacred space. Peace surrounds me. The shift was subtle, yet profound, like switching from a dimmer to a bright light. The universe knows only the eternal present moment. When you declare something as already manifest, you align with the creative force that shapes reality. Your words become instructions to the field of infinite possibility. I am carries more power than I want because it speaks the language of completion rather than lack. A master artist named Sophia understood this principle intuitively. Before touching brush to canvas, she would sign her name in the bottom corner. The painting exists, she would say. I simply reveal it. Each stroke flowed with certainty, guided by the completion she had already claimed. Her art seemed to emerge as though predetermined, drawn forth by her unwavering knowing. This story mirrors your own creative power. When you sign your name to the masterpiece of your life before the details emerge, you invoke the law of attraction in its purest form. The universe conspires to match your declaration of completion. The timing of manifestation flows not from calendar chapters, but from the vibration you hold. As you release the habit of future-focused wanting and embrace present-moment having, you dissolve the barriers of time itself. Your desires transition from hopeful wishes to living realities. The practice. Stand tall, breathe deeply, and declare your dream in the present tense. I am living it now. Feeling its reality settle into your body as you align with the infinite field where it already exists. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Alchemy of Contrast. In the heart of the desert, Bernard knelt in the sand, his tears falling upon the barren earth where his crops had failed for the third season. His hands, calloused from endless toil, clenched in frustration. The more passionately he pursued abundance, the more firmly it seemed to slip through his fingers like grains of sand. When you encounter resistance, the universe whispers its most potent teachings. Each obstacle stands not as a barrier, but as a refining force, a sacred tool that hones the edge of your intention. Your desires, in their raw form, often lack the precision needed for manifestation. It is through the friction of contrast that they gain their true shape and power. The law works not through the absence of challenge, but through its transformative presence. Just as a diamond emerges from pressure, your clearest intentions crystallize through apparent opposition. What appears as denial serves as divine refinement, each no clarifying the exact contours of your yes. When circumstances seem to push against your wishes, they actually push you toward greater alignment. This resistance acts as a cosmic compass, revealing where your energy requires adjustment. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, uses contrast to tune your frequency to the exact vibration of your desire. In a distant kingdom, a master craftsman received a grain of sand in his oyster beds. Instead of removing this irritant, he understood its purpose. Day after day, The oyster coated the intrusive grain with lustrous nacre. What began as discomfort transformed into a pearl of rare beauty. The sand had not disrupted the oyster's process. It had become essential to its creation. This truth mirrors your journey of manifestation. Each challenge you face adds another layer of clarity to your intention. The friction you feel is not punishment but polish, not obstacle but opportunity. When you resist resistance, you miss its gift of refinement. Your disappointments contain precise instructions. They reveal the gap between your current vibration and the frequency of your desire. This gap is not your enemy. It is your guide. By embracing rather than resenting these moments of contrast, you allow them to sculpt your energy into perfect resonance with your dreams. Sacred practice. Sit quietly, hand over heart, and affirm, "Blessed is this resistance, for it shapes my desire with precision," feeling your challenge transform into a guiding force, aligning you with your highest path. Chapter 15. The Circle of Giving. In a bustling marketplace, Sadie clutched her last silver coins, calculating what she could buy to sustain herself through the week. Each morning she would count her dwindling savings, anxiety tightening her chest as she watched her resources shrink. The more desperately she held on to what remained, the faster it seemed to slip away. Then one morning, something extraordinary happened. As she hurried past an elderly woman selling flowers, she noticed the woman's trembling hands and weary eyes. Without thinking, Sadie reached into her purse and gave the woman her last coins. "For your breakfast," she said softly, turning away before she could change her mind. That simple act altered the currents of her life. Within days, customers began appearing at her small sewing shop, bringing work she hadn't sought. Soon she needed to hire help to manage the flow of orders. The more generously she treated her workers, the more abundance flowed through her doors. This reveals a fundamental truth about the universe's operation. Wealth behaves like water. It must flow to remain fresh and vital. When you dam a stream, it stagnates. When you let it flow, it nourishes everything in its path and returns multiplied. Your prosperity expands not through accumulation, but through circulation. Every gift creates a vacuum that the universe rushes to fill. This isn't about depletion. It's about participation in the cosmic dance of give and receive. The universe operates through continuous exchange, and your conscious participation in this flow amplifies its power. In a small village lived a baker named Thomas who inherited his father's failing bakery. While other bakers hoarded their goods during hard times, Thomas began giving away one loaf each morning to whoever needed it most. People watched as he placed that single loaf in his window at dawn. Soon, the aroma of his kindness spread faster than the scent of his bread. Customers began arriving from neighboring towns, speaking of the baker whose generosity flavored everything he baked. His small shop could barely contain the crowds that gathered each morning, not just for bread, but to be part of the miracle of multiplication that occurred within those walls. This tale mirrors your own potential for abundance. When you release your gifts into the world, whether material or spiritual, you create channels through which greater blessings can flow. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to your willingness to become a conductor of its abundance. Each act of giving declares your trust in the infinite supply available to you. It announces to the universe that you understand its fundamental nature, that abundance multiplies through distribution, not accumulation. Your generosity becomes both the seed and the harvest, initiating a cycle of endless return. Sacred practice, the offering. At sunrise, give something freely, a smile, a coin, a moment of kindness, and feel the lightness of true generosity opening the effortless flow of abundance through you. Chapter 16. The Golden Silence. In the heart of a bustling city lived a merchant named Albert, whose days overflowed with endless chatter, negotiations, and the constant din of commerce. His mind raced with plans and schemes, his voice forever bargaining and explaining. Even in moments of solitude, he filled the air with hummed tunes or muttered thoughts, as though afraid to let quietude enter his world. His prosperity seemed tied to his perpetual motion, until the year when everything changed. His wealth began to diminish, despite his increasing efforts to talk his way into better fortunes. The more he spoke, the less others listened. The harder he pushed, the more opportunities slipped away. One evening, exhausted from another day of fruitless endeavors, Albert stumbled into an ancient temple. There, amidst the sacred stillness, he encountered a truth that would transform his existence. The universe speaks in silence. In that moment of forced quiet, he felt, rather than heard, the wisdom that had eluded him. His endless words had been drowning out the subtle whispers of divine guidance. His constant noise had created a barrier between his desires and their manifestation. The art of manifestation flows not from endless affirmations or ceaseless planning, but from the pure silence where thought meets potential. In stillness, your energy aligns with the cosmic current. When you cease the endless chatter of want and worry, you create space for abundance to enter. Think of your mind as a pool of water. Every thought, word, and worry creates ripples that distort the surface. Only in absolute stillness can the water reflect the sky with perfect clarity. So too must your consciousness become still to reflect the possibilities the universe offers. This truth reveals itself in nature's own rhythm. Seeds sprout not in the chaos of storms, but in the quiet darkness of earth. The most profound transformations occur in silence, the butterfly emerging from its chrysalis, the flower unfurling its petals at dawn, the stars wheeling in their silent dance across the night sky. In the depths of silence, your magnetic power grows strongest. When you quiet the mind's constant commentary, you allow your pure intention to broadcast clearly to the universe. This is why the most powerful manifestations often arrive in moments of peaceful surrender rather than frantic action. A weaver named Maya discovered this truth in her own way. Day after day, she questioned her path, sought advice from everyone she met, and filled her journals with endless plans. Success eluded her until illness forced her into bed rest. In the quiet days that followed, unable to speak above a whisper, she began to hear the gentle nudges of intuition she had previously drowned out. The designs that flowed from this silence became her most celebrated works. The interpretation is clear. When you stop filling every moment with noise, you create space for wisdom to emerge. Like Maya, you may discover that your greatest inspirations and most powerful manifestations arise not from constant doing and speaking, but from moments of sacred silence. The ancient practice, sit quietly, spine tall and breath steady, letting thoughts pass like clouds as you rest in pure stillness, where alignment with the universe's creative flow naturally begins. Chapter 17. The Gateway of Imagination. A young woman named Pearl lived a life of monotonous routine. Each morning she walked the same path to work, greeted the same faces, and performed the same tasks with mechanical precision. The spark in her eyes had dimmed, replaced by a distant gaze that looked but no longer saw possibility. One autumn evening, while organizing her modest apartment, Pearl discovered an old sketchbook filled with childhood drawings. As she turned the chapters, memories stirred of hours spent dreaming, creating, and believing in infinite possibilities. That night, for the first time in years, she allowed herself to imagine again. The universe operates through the law of mental creation, preceding physical manifestation. What appears in your mind's eye with emotional vibrancy must eventually take form in the physical world. This is not wishful thinking, but rather the fundamental architecture of creation itself. Your imagination is not a frivolous distraction. It is the blueprint room where reality is first designed. When you engage your imagination with the full spectrum of your senses, you create a magnetic template that draws corresponding circumstances into alignment. The key lies not in occasional daydreaming, but in the sustained practice of sensory-rich visualization until the imagined scene carries the weight of emotional reality. This is how the universe first whispered all things into being, and it is your inherited power as a creative force within it. In the hidden valleys of the East lived a humble gardener named Ming. Each morning, before touching soil or seed, she would sit in her small wooden chair and close her eyes. In her mind, she walked through lush gardens that did not yet exist, breathing in the fragrance of flowers still unplanted, listening to the rustle of leaves still ungrown, feeling the soft petals of blossoms still undreamed by all but her. Season after season, Ming would first tend to her garden of visions before working the physical earth. Gradually, impossibly, the land around her began to mirror the paradise she had so faithfully maintained in her imagination. Visitors would gasp at the harmony and beauty, never knowing that every bloom had flowered first in the fertile soil of Ming's mind. This tale illuminates an eternal truth. What you nurture in imagination becomes the seed of tomorrow's reality. Ming's success came not from mere fantasy, but from the marriage of clear vision with devoted action. Her garden grew twice, first in the realm of pure potential, then in the world of form. The practice: sit in stillness, close your eyes, and fully immerse your senses in the reality you wish to live, feeling its emotions as truth in your body. For this is not imagination, but the living practice of creation. Chapter 18. The Momentum of Belief. In a small coastal village, Ralph tended his shop each day, measuring success by the modest income that allowed him to survive. "This is all a shopkeeper in this tiny place can expect," he would say, the words becoming a mantra that shaped his reality. One morning, while arranging his wares, he noticed a strange glimmer in an old mirror. Not a reflection of light, but a glimpse of what his shop could become. For a brief moment, he saw shelves filled with unique treasures, customers eagerly exploring, and an energy of abundance flowing through the space. The vision startled him, cracking the shell of his limited thinking. The universe operates through an unwavering principle. Your beliefs create the blueprint for your reality. Each thought you hold becomes a command to the cosmic forces, directing energy to manifest according to your deepest convictions. When you shift a belief, you alter the very foundation upon which your experiences build themselves. Consider how water follows the path carved into earth. Similarly, your experiences flow along channels created by your beliefs. These channels run deep, formed by years of repeated thoughts, yet they can be redirected with conscious awareness. Your beliefs act as invisible architects, silently constructing the framework of your daily life. The power lies not in changing external circumstances, but in transforming the internal landscape that gives rise to them. When you upgrade a belief, you initiate a ripple effect that touches every aspect of your existence. Like updating the operating system of a computer, new beliefs allow for expanded possibilities and enhanced performance in all areas of life. In a distant mountain kingdom, a traveler named Cyrus relied on an ancient map passed down through generations. He accepted the long, winding routes as the only paths available. One day, he discovered that his map reflected outdated information. New roads had been built, shorter paths existed. By updating his reference point, his entire journey transformed. What once took days now required mere hours. This tale mirrors your own journey. The beliefs you carry are like well-worn maps, guiding your choices and shaping your expectations. When you dare to question these maps, to consider that faster, easier routes might exist, you open yourself to new possibilities. Your limitations exist primarily in thought, and thoughts can be chosen anew. The practice. Each morning, rewrite one limiting belief into its liberated opposite, speak it with heartfelt conviction, and feel reality rearrange itself to match your new, empowered truth. Chapter 19. The Gentle Correction of Doubt. You must understand that what appears as a setback often serves as a compass pointing toward greater alignment. In a village among ancient hills, Beatrice worked as a healer, her reputation growing steadily through years of dedicated service. Each morning she would gather herbs and prepare remedies, her faith in the healing arts unwavering, until the day her most trusted treatments seemed to lose their potency. As her confidence wavered, patients began seeking help elsewhere. Alone in her garden one evening, watching the sun paint the sky in hues of uncertainty, she felt the weight of doubt pressing against her chest. Yet within that moment of vulnerability, a deeper wisdom emerged. The universe speaks through every experience, even those that shake our certainty. When your beliefs begin to tremble, it signals not a failure of faith, but an invitation to deeper understanding. Like a tree whose branches bend in strong winds, flexibility proves stronger than rigid resistance. In the marketplace of life, you will encounter moments when your convictions feel less solid than before. These periods of questioning serve as sacred adjustments, fine-tuning your alignment with universal forces. Just as a compass needle quivers before finding true north, your temporary doubts guide you toward more authentic belief. Consider the tale of the old sailor who navigated treacherous waters. When unexpected winds arose, he did not curse the sea or abandon his journey. Instead, he studied the changing patterns, adjusted his sails, and discovered more efficient routes to his destination. The wind that seemed to oppose him actually taught him mastery. So it was with Beatrice. Rather than fighting her uncertainty, she embraced it as a teacher. She began listening more deeply to her patients, refining her methods, and integrating new wisdom with ancient knowledge. Her practice not only recovered, but expanded in ways she never imagined possible. This truth echoes across time. Doubt does not diminish your power. It refines it. When you meet uncertainty with gentle acceptance rather than resistance, you transform what could be an obstacle into a stepping stone. Each moment of questioning becomes an opportunity to strengthen your connection with the infinite intelligence that guides all things. The way forward lies not in pretending doubt doesn't exist, but in recognizing it as part of your growth. When you embrace these moments with compassion, you allow the natural current of life to restore your clarity. Like a stream finding its course around rocks, your path becomes clearer through each challenge you face with wisdom. To practice this ancient understanding, whenever doubt casts its shadow across your path, pause and whisper these words of power. Even this is guiding me toward steadiness. Feel how this acknowledgement transforms resistance into receptivity, allowing the universe to reveal its higher purpose through every experience. Through this gentle acceptance, you align with the eternal flow of creation, where even moments of uncertainty serve as bridges to stronger belief. The momentum of your faith grows not from avoiding doubt, but from learning to dance with it gracefully, knowing that each step leads you closer to your highest truth. Practice. When doubt appears, pause and softly affirm, "Even this is guiding me toward steadiness," allowing uncertainty to transform into quiet trust on your path of creation. Chapter 20. The Sacred Pause Before Receiving. In the bustling market square of an ancient city, Clyde moved with the determined stride of one who believed speed equaled success. Each morning before dawn, he would rush to secure the finest produce, negotiate the keenest prices, and race between stalls arranging his trades. While others rested in the afternoon heat, he pressed onward, convinced that constant motion meant progress. Yet despite his ceaseless activity, prosperity remained just beyond his grasp. The more he chased, the more it seemed to elude him. Until one sweltering day, exhaustion forced him to pause beneath the shade of an old olive tree. As his breathing slowed, he noticed how the tree's branches swayed gently, neither grasping at the wind nor resisting it. In that moment of stillness, 3 merchants approached, seeking the very goods he had spent months trying to sell. This truth echoes through the ages. Manifestation requires both momentum and stillness. The universe operates in cycles of action and reception. When you plant a seed, you must then step back and allow its space to sprout. Your constant movement, though born of dedication, can sometimes create a whirlwind that keeps your blessings at bay. Picture yourself as a vessel meant to receive. If you are always in motion, how can anything fill you? The law of attraction responds not just to your actions, but to your ability to become still and receptive. In those quiet moments, when you cease striving, you allow the universe to arrange circumstances in ways your busy mind could never orchestrate. Consider the tale of the young catcher in an ancient ball game. No matter how swift or skilled he was, he could not catch while his hands were moving. Only when he found the perfect balance between readiness and stillness could he receive what was thrown to him. The ball would find his hands precisely because they were prepared yet peaceful. So it is with all that you seek to manifest. Your actions set energy in motion, but your moments of stillness allow that energy to complete its journey back to you. This is not passive waiting, but active receptivity, an alert readiness that trusts in divine timing. The universe has heard your every request. Your work, your intentions, your desires, all have been registered in the cosmic ledger. Now comes the art of receiving, of creating space in your life for blessings to land. The practice. After setting an intention or taking action, sit in stillness with open palms and a quiet heart, letting the sacred pause invite your creations to return fulfilled into your waiting hands. Part 3. The Mastery of Co-Creation. Chapter 21. The Universe as Partner. Along the rocky coastline walked Edna, her heart heavy with unanswered prayers. Each morning she would come to these waters, casting her wishes into the waves like desperate messages in bottles. "Please, universe," she would beg, "grant me this." Yet the more she pleaded, the more distant her dreams felt. One dawn, as she prepared her usual litany of requests, a shift occurred within her. Instead of speaking her wants into the wind, she found herself simply saying, "Good morning," to the rising sun. To her amazement, the whole world seemed to brighten in response. The waves lapped differently at her feet, more like a playful greeting than the indifferent rhythm she had known before. In this moment, you touch upon a truth that transforms everything. The universe is not a distant authority to petition, but an intimate partner in creation. When you approach life as a collaboration rather than a supplication, the entire dynamics of manifestation shift. Your relationship with existence becomes a dance of co-creation rather than a cycle of asking and waiting. Think of the laws that govern reality not as cold mechanisms, but as living principles eager to engage with your creative spirit. Just as two artists might combine their talents to create something neither could achieve alone, you and the universe are meant to work in harmony. This truth was beautifully captured in the tale of the wandering musician who discovered his greatest music not by playing against the wind, but by allowing it to flow through his instrument. At first he tried to overpower the breeze, creating discord, but when he began to listen and adjust his notes to dance with the natural rhythms around him, something magical emerged. His single melody expanded into a symphony as the wind became his partner, carrying his music to places he could never have reached alone. The message is clear. When you cease viewing yourself as a supplicant and recognize your role as a co-creator, everything transforms. The universe responds not as a master to a servant, but as one artist to another, each bringing their unique gifts to the collaboration. This shift from pleading to partnering changes not just what you receive, but who you become. No longer are you waiting for permission or approval. Instead, you move through life with the confident joy of one who knows they are part of a greater creative force. The winds of change, the tides of fortune, the very breath of life itself, these are not forces to beg from, but creative energies to blend with. Your thoughts, feelings, and actions become brushstrokes on the canvas of existence, working in harmony with the greater artistry of the universe. The practice. Each morning, greet the day with a smile and affirm, "Let's create beauty together," stepping joyfully into your role as a conscious co-creator in the universe's unfolding masterpiece. Chapter 22. The frequency of forgiveness. Long ago, Wallace kept a small shop in a bustling marketplace. Each morning, he would open his doors with heaviness in his heart, for he carried the weight of an old betrayal. Years before, his closest friend and business partner had stolen his savings and vanished, leaving Wallace's dreams shattered. Though he rebuilt his life, the bitterness remained, coating his spirit like rust on a precious metal. The vibration of resentment echoed through every corner of his existence. While his shop contained valuable merchandise, customers often passed by without entering, as if sensing an invisible barrier. Wallace blamed his misfortune on his former friend, unaware that his own thoughts were creating a fortress of resistance. Through the changing seasons, the universe whispered its timeless truth. Unforgiveness is a chain that binds both captor and prisoner. Each grudge we harbor becomes a wall, blocking the natural flow of abundance. These walls, built of painful memories and justified anger, redirect the current of life's blessings away from our shores. Your spirit holds infinite channels through which prosperity, love, and joy can flow. Yet each unresolved grievance acts as a barrier, constricting these pathways. The universe, in its boundless wisdom, cannot force its way through these self-imposed blockages. It must wait for you to choose release. Consider how water flows in a stream. When debris gathers, the current slows and stagnates. Only by clearing the obstacles can the water dance freely again. Similarly, your energy field requires clear channels to attract and receive life's gifts. In a distant valley lived a wise woman who kept a beautiful crystal lantern. Each evening, as she lit the flame within, its light would illuminate her entire home. Yet over time, soot began to gather on the glass, dimming its brilliance. No matter how brightly the flame burned inside, its radiance could not penetrate the accumulated darkness. One day, as she cleaned the lantern's glass, she watched the light grow stronger with each gentle stroke. The simple act of removing what had gathered restored the lantern's natural ability to shine. In that moment, she understood that her heart worked the same way. Only by clearing away old hurts could her inner light truly radiate. This tale mirrors your own journey with forgiveness. Each act of letting go polishes the glass of your spirit, allowing your inner light to shine more brightly. This brightness becomes your magnetic force, attracting circumstances that match your renewed clarity. Release is not about condoning what happened, but about freeing yourself from its continued influence on your present moment. When you hold on to past hurts, you unconsciously broadcast that frequency into your future, creating more situations that resonate with that pain. The practice. Close your eyes, surround both yourself and the one you've resented in light, and affirm, "I release you with gratitude for the wisdom this brought me," feeling your heart lighten as forgiveness opens new channels for abundance. Chapter 23. The Compass of Desire. A young woman named Rosie spent her days chasing after everything that glittered in her view. Each morning brought a new obsession, a different career path, another city to live in, a fresh creative pursuit. Her mind raced constantly with possibilities, yet each new direction left her feeling more scattered than before. Through restless nights and anxious days, she pursued what she thought she wanted, mistaking the loud voice of her ego for the whispers of her soul. The harder she pushed, the more exhausted she became, until one day she collapsed beneath an ancient oak tree in the village square. As she sat there, something shifted. The afternoon breeze carried away her mental chatter, leaving behind an unfamiliar stillness. In that quiet moment, she felt a gentle warmth in her heart, pointing her toward a simple act, helping the elderly neighbor she'd been too busy to notice. This urging carried no weight, no desperate need, just a soft knowing. The universe speaks through the language of ease. When desire springs from the soul, it arrives without the burden of doubt or the heaviness of fear. True guidance flows like a stream finding its natural course, effortless, clear, and certain. In the marketplace of existence, two voices compete for your attention. One shouts with urgency, demanding immediate action, breeding anxiety and attachment. The other whispers with patient clarity, offering direction through peace rather than pressure. The first voice is the ego's insistence. The second is the soul's inspiration. There lived a bird in the mountains who exhausted herself trying to memorize other birds' migration routes. She studied their maps and followed their paths until one day she simply felt the warmth of the southern winds. In that moment she understood. Her body knew the way home without a single map. She surrendered to this inner knowing, and her wings carried her exactly where she needed to go. This story mirrors your own journey. When you release the grip of forced direction and tune into the frequency of inspired guidance, the path reveals itself naturally. The bird didn't need external instruction because wisdom lived in her bones. Similarly, your deepest knowing resides not in anxious thinking, but in the quiet certainty of your heart. Your soul's desires carry the signature of grace. They expand rather than contract, liberate rather than confine. They arrive as gentle nudges, subtle knowings that feel like remembering rather than learning. Unlike the ego's demands, which drain your energy, soul guidance replenishes your spirit with each step taken. Ancient practice, the discernment of desire. Throughout your day, follow only what feels light and effortless, allowing ease, not tension, to guide you in the gentle flow of your soul's true knowing. Chapter 24. The Energy of Words. In a small mountain village, a craftsman named Norman spent his days shaping wood while muttering phrases like, "Nothing ever works out," and "Life is such a struggle." With each negative declaration, his workshop grew darker, his tools duller, and his creations less inspired. You see, Norman had yet to understand that his words were not mere expressions of his reality. They were architects of it. Each syllable he spoke carried a precise vibration into the universe, like ripples in a cosmic pond, returning to him exactly what he proclaimed. The universe operates through absolute law. Your words are seeds planted in the fertile soil of infinite possibility. When you speak, you are not describing what exists. You are commanding what will be. This truth has echoed through the ages, whispered by masters who understood that speech is the first act of creation. Every I am statement becomes a chisel, carving your destiny. Each I can't builds an invisible wall. Your complaints are prayers for more reasons to complain. Your celebrations are invitations for more celebrations to arrive. The universe does not judge your words as positive or negative. It simply answers yes to whatever you declare with conviction. In a distant valley lived a poet who discovered this sacred science of speech. Where once she wrote of emptiness and yearning, she began crafting verses of fulfillment and love. As her vocabulary shifted from want to have, from someday to now, her life transformed into the very poetry she penned. Her relationships deepened, her garden flourished, and her home became a sanctuary of peace, all through the conscious choosing of words that aligned with abundance rather than lack. The air around you is alive with potential, waiting to be shaped by your spoken intent. Each time you open your mouth, you are either blessing or burdening your path. Think of your words as brushstrokes on the canvas of reality. Every phrase colors your experience. Every sentence sets a tone for what follows. When you declare, "I am strong," strength rises to meet you. When you whisper, "I am blessed," blessings multiply. When you state, "I am ready," opportunities appear. This is not magical thinking. It is the physics of consciousness expressing through language. Observe those who have mastered their destinies. They speak with deliberate grace, choosing words that match their desired reality rather than their current circumstances. They understand that language is not just descriptive, it is creative. Their speech reflects what they wish to grow, not what they wish to overcome. The ancient practice. Each morning, hand over heart, breathe deeply and transform every "I can't" into "I am learning to," feeling possibility expand as your words reshape the landscape of your reality. Chapter 25. The Sacred Art of Receiving. In a bustling marketplace, a merchant named Doris spent her days offering fruits and vegetables to passing travelers. Her generosity knew no bounds. She would slip extra produce into the bags of weary mothers, share water with thirsty workers, and often give away her finest selections to elderly customers who reminded her of her grandparents. Yet when others attempted to return her kindness, a fresh-baked loaf of bread, a handmade scarf, even simple words of thanks, Doris would wave them away with embarrassed protests. "Oh no, I couldn't possibly," she would say, or "Please keep it for someone who truly needs it." What Doris failed to recognize was that her resistance to receiving created an energetic dam in the natural flow of abundance. The universe operates through continuous circulation, like the endless dance between ocean and sky, between breath given and breath received. When you block one side of this sacred exchange, you interrupt the entire cycle of prosperity. Your ability to receive is as vital as your capacity to give. Think of the rhythm of your own breath. If you only exhaled but never inhaled, life itself would cease. This same principle governs all energy exchanges in the universe. To give is divine, but to receive with grace is equally sacred. In a distant valley lived a wise woman who tended a magnificent garden. Each morning, she would place empty vessels beneath her flowering vines, allowing them to catch the morning dew. "See how the cup must turn its face upward to be filled," she would tell visitors. "It does not diminish its worth by receiving. It fulfills its purpose." Those cups that remained turned downward, refusing to accept what freely fell from above, stayed forever empty. They could not serve their purpose of holding and sharing water with thirsty plants. Their very resistance to receiving made them unable to give. This simple truth reveals itself in every aspect of creation. The flower must open to receive sunlight before it can offer its nectar to bees. The earth must accept rain before it can yield crops. Your own heart must be willing to receive love before it can truly give it. When you deflect a gift, compliment, or blessing, you are not practicing humility. You are disrupting the sacred cycle of abundance. Each time you say no to receiving, you send a signal to the universe that you are not ready for more. Your resistance becomes a declaration of unworthiness, and the universe, ever respectful of your free will, honors that declaration by reducing the flow of blessings toward you. To restore the natural flow of abundance in your life, you must learn to receive with the same grace with which you give. This does not mean becoming greedy or entitled. It means honoring the universal law of circulation by allowing others the joy of giving, just as you experience that joy yourself. The practice. When kindness comes your way, meet it with a sincere smile and a heartfelt thank you, allowing graceful receiving to open wider channels of abundance in your life. Chapter 26. The Momentum of Joyful Action. A merchant named Virgil spent his evenings crafting elaborate visions of the trading empire he would build. In his mind's eye, he saw colorful silk-laden caravans stretching across distant horizons, prosperous marketplaces filled with exotic treasures, and wealth flowing abundantly. Night after night, he would lose himself in these magnificent dreams. Yet when dawn broke, he remained in his small shop, paralyzed by the gap between vision and reality. The universe speaks through inspiration, but it manifests through movement. Your thoughts create the blueprint, but action builds the temple. Like a seed requiring both sunlight and soil, manifestation demands both vibration and physical engagement. The error lies not in dreaming grandly, for dreams are the language of possibility, but in believing that visualization alone will bridge the distance between where you stand and where you wish to be. The universe responds not to what you think about, but to what you set in motion through inspired action. When you take even one small step toward your vision, you activate forces beyond your comprehension. It is as though the entire cosmic dance awaits your first move. Your action, however modest, signals your commitment to the universe, demonstrating that you are ready to participate in the creation of your desires. Fear often masquerades as preparation, causing you to wait for perfect conditions before beginning. Yet perfection is not a prerequisite for progress. The universe asks only for willing participation, not flawless execution. In a distant village lived a young musician named Anna who dreamed of performing in the great concert halls. For years, she practiced alone in her room, imagining thunderous applause but never daring to play for others. One day, she simply began playing in the village square. As her first notes filled the air, other musicians emerged from their homes, drawn by her melody. Soon, an impromptu orchestra formed around her, creating music more beautiful than any she had imagined alone. This tale mirrors your own journey of manifestation. The orchestra of life stands ready, waiting for your first note. When you initiate movement, any movement toward your dreams, the universe orchestrates circumstances to support your endeavor. Your action is the conductor's baton that sets the symphony in motion. The practice. Choose one cherished goal and take one joyful step toward it today, celebrating the simple act of beginning as your invitation for the universe to join the dance of creation. Chapter 27. The Clarity in Chaos. In a remote mountain village, there lived a woman named Flora who cherished order above all else. Her garden grew in perfect rows, her home maintained meticulous organization, and her days followed an unchanging rhythm. Yet beneath this carefully arranged surface, stagnation had taken root. When a great storm swept through the valley, it scattered her carefully tended garden, flooded her orderly home, and shattered her rigid routines. As Flora stood amidst the aftermath, tears streaming down her face, she witnessed something extraordinary. The scattered seeds from her garden had taken root in unexpected places, creating wild but beautiful patterns she never would have planned. The floodwaters had carved new pathways, revealing precious stones long buried beneath the soil. The universe speaks through disruption. What appears as disorder often conceals a higher intelligence at work, rearranging the pieces of your life into more harmonious configurations. When familiar structures dissolve, you stand at the threshold of transformation. Your resistance to chaos stems from the illusion that you must maintain control. Yet the universe operates through cycles of dissolution and renewal. Just as winter's apparent death nurtures spring's rebirth, periods of confusion prepare the ground for deeper clarity. Consider how a caterpillar must surrender to complete cellular dissolution within its chrysalis before emerging as a butterfly. The process appears chaotic, yet a profound intelligence orchestrates every moment of this metamorphosis. Similarly, when your life seems to be falling apart, it may actually be falling into place. In the bustling marketplace of an ancient city, a wise merchant kept a precious snow globe on his counter. When customers complained about their troubled lives, he would shake the globe vigorously, showing how the swirling snow obscured everything within. Then he would set it down and invite them to watch. Gradually, as the flakes settled, the scene within became clearer than before. Each particle found its perfect place, revealing a landscape more beautiful than if it had remained undisturbed. This merchant's simple demonstration carries profound wisdom for your journey. The turmoil you experience is not punishment or mistake, it is purification. When old patterns dissolve, they create space for new possibilities to emerge. The very chaos you resist contains the seeds of your next evolution. Your task is not to control the storm, but to trust the intelligence within it. Each moment of uncertainty polishes your faith. Each challenge that shakes your foundations helps you build on stronger ground. The universe never wastes a disruption. Every upheaval serves the emergence of greater coherence in your life. Sacred practice. When life feels chaotic, place your hand over your heart, breathe, and affirm, order is forming beneath this motion, trusting that every wave is guiding you toward clarity. Chapter 28. The Ripple of One Thought. Once lived a humble shopkeeper named Edgar who spent his days behind the counter of his small store, barely making ends meet. Each morning he would open his shop with a heavy heart, counting the few coins in his register. Yet, one ordinary dawn, something shifted within him. Instead of focusing on his empty shelves, he gazed at the single ray of sunlight streaming through his window and thought, "This light is enough to begin anew." In that moment of appreciation, an elderly woman entered his shop. Moved by Edgar's unexpected warm smile, she shared news of his store with her bridge club. By week's end, his small space hummed with new customers, each drawn to the gentle optimism that now permeated the atmosphere. The universe speaks through the language of energy. When you alter your inner frequency, even through one small thought, you initiate a cascade of corresponding vibrations that touch countless lives. Like invisible threads connecting all of creation, your consciousness weaves itself into the fabric of collective experience. This sacred truth reveals itself. Reality shapes itself around your dominant thought patterns, not through force or manipulation, but through the natural law of resonance. When you hold a thought of abundance, you don't just change your perception. You literally alter the electromagnetic field around you. This field interacts with all other fields, creating a symphony of possibility. In the hills of an ancient valley, a young girl dropped a single pebble into a still pond. As the stone broke the surface, perfect circles rippled outward, touching first the nearby reeds, then the water lilies further out, finally reaching the distant shores where birds drank. The water dancers, tiny insects skating on the surface, rode these gentle waves, their paths forever altered by this one small act. So it is with your thoughts. Each optimistic impression, each moment of gratitude sends forth waves of influence far beyond your immediate awareness. You need not concern yourself with how far these ripples travel or whom they might touch. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, orchestrates this dance of cause and effect. This truth liberates you from the burden of controlling outcomes. Your task is simply to maintain the purity of your initial vibration, to hold steady in your light. Let the ripples extend naturally, touching lives in ways you may never witness. The power lies not in the magnitude of the thought, but in its clarity and sincerity. A single moment of genuine appreciation holds more transformative potential than hours of forced positive thinking. Like Edgar's simple appreciation of morning light, your smallest shift in perspective sends forth waves of possibility into the collective field of creation. Ancient practice. Sit in silence. Hold one gentle thought of gratitude or love for 60 seconds and feel its quiet radiance and ripples of harmony far beyond your awareness. Chapter 29. The Infinite Now. In a bustling city, Lillian rushed through her days, mind perpetually split between regrets of yesterday and anxieties about tomorrow. Her calendar overflowed with appointments, yet abundance eluded her grasp. One morning, while hurrying to another meeting, she stumbled upon an ancient sundial in a forgotten courtyard. Its inscription read, "This moment alone exists." Those words pierced her racing thoughts. Standing there, Lillian noticed how the shadow fell exactly where it needed to be, not where it had been or would be, but precisely where it was. In that instant, she understood time differently. The universe operates solely in the present moment. When your awareness rests fully in the now, you tap into the infinite creative force that knows neither past nor future. This eternal present holds all possibilities, all potentials, all power. Like a master artist with infinite colors at their disposal, you paint your reality stroke by stroke in each moment. The past exists only as memory, the future as imagination. Neither holds inherent power over your point of attraction. When you release the weight of what was and the worry of what might be, you discover an extraordinary truth. The universe responds exclusively to your present vibration. Think of your consciousness as a radio transmitter. It can only broadcast one frequency at a time. the frequency of now. When your signal is clear, undiluted by past regrets or future fears, the universe receives your transmission with perfect clarity. This is why masters throughout the ages have emphasized presence as the key to manifestation. A merchant in ancient times learned this wisdom through an unexpected source. Each day he meticulously counted his inventory, fretting over yesterday's losses and tomorrow's uncertainties. His prized possession was an ornate clock, whose constant ticking reminded him of time's relentless march. One night, in a vivid dream, he watched his beloved clock begin to melt, its rigid form becoming fluid like water. As the hands dissolved, time itself seemed to pool into a single eternal moment. When he awoke, he realized that his fixation on time's passage had been blocking his prosperity. The merchant began focusing solely on the quality of his present moment interactions. Within weeks, his shop transformed into a gathering place of joy and abundance. This tale reveals a fundamental truth. When you merge completely with the present moment, time becomes your ally rather than your master. The universe doesn't know past or future. It knows only the vibration you offer now. This moment contains all the power you will ever need to create your desired reality. The practice. Throughout the day, pause and affirm, "Now is my point of power," anchoring yourself in the present moment where all creation begins. Chapter 30. The Bending of the Universe. A merchant named Frank spent years forcing outcomes through sheer determination. Though successful by worldly measures, contentment remained distant until one transformative dawn changed everything. That morning, Frank walked through his garden, heavy with worries about an important business deal. As he paused by the fountain, sunlight struck the mist, creating an ethereal rainbow. In that moment, something shifted within him. Rather than pushing against life's flow, he surrendered into a state of profound appreciation. His heart opened in gratitude, love poured forth unbidden, and faith arose naturally. To his amazement, events began arranging themselves with an ease he'd never known. When you merge these sacred forces, alignment, gratitude, love, and faith, you enter a state of such perfect harmony that the universe cannot help but respond. This is not about imposing your will upon existence, but rather about becoming so attuned to the cosmic dance that you and it move as one. The universe does not yield to force, it responds to resonance. When your inner state aligns with the frequency of your desires, reality curves to meet you halfway. This is not metaphor, but the deepest truth of creation. Consciousness shapes the fabric of existence. Think of light passing through a crystal. The crystal doesn't command the light to change. Its very nature transforms white light into a spectrum of colors. Similarly, your alignment with universal forces creates a prism through which infinite possibility refracts into manifest reality. In a distant mountain village lived a humble glassmaker who crafted the most extraordinary pieces. Unlike other artisans who fought to bend the glass to their will, she learned to feel its natural flow. She discovered that when her breath synchronized with the molten glass, it would curve and spiral in ways that defied explanation. Her creations became famous, not because she mastered the glass, but because she learned to dance with it. This simple story reveals a profound truth. Mastery in any form comes not from domination, but from intimate cooperation. When you align so completely with universal forces that boundaries dissolve, You become a conscious participant in creation's unfolding. Your relationship with the universe is not that of commander and commanded, but of dancer and dance, of wave and ocean, of sunbeam and sun. In perfect alignment, you don't attract what you want. You become the attractor itself. Sacred practice. Each night, breathe into your heart and whisper, "I and the universe are one motion," feeling yourself merge with the infinite flow of creation. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. In this sacred moment of recognition, you stand at the threshold of understanding. The universe has always been an extension of your own consciousness. Like a river flowing into the sea, the boundaries between creator and creation dissolve. Every thought you've held, every feeling you've embraced, has been a note in the cosmic symphony of manifestation. Through these teachings, you've discovered that manifestation isn't about bending external forces to your will. Rather, it's about aligning with the infinite power that already flows through you. When you surrendered control, you gained true power. When you embraced joy, you activated creation. When you allowed life to unfold, you opened the channels of abundance. The mastery you seek isn't found in domination, but in remembrance. As you've walked this path, each step has led you back to an ancient truth. You are the universe expressing itself in human form. Your desires aren't separate from universal intelligence. They are its whispers guiding you toward expansion. This isn't the end of your journey, but a deepening into what you've always known. The universe bends around you because there is no separation between you and it. Your thoughts shape reality not through force, but through resonance. Your emotions create not through wanting, but through being. In this awareness, manifestation becomes effortless. Like breath moving through your body, creation flows naturally when you align with your true nature. The power was never about making things happen. It was about allowing what already is to express through you. Remember, each moment carries the potential for transformation. As you move forward, let this truth echo in your heart. You are not seeking the universe's favor. You are experiencing its love expressing as you.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.